Okay, I've got the pleasure today of just talking to you about some of the extension material that we've been trying to produce through this project. So we're calling it a cover cropping toolkit, and really it's aimed at you guys. It's giving you some background information on how to establish cover crops in your orchard. For citrus, it's a really new approach. The wine industry has been doing this for quite a while. We've taken some learnings from that. Merv's talked quite a bit about cover crops, so you've got a good background now. Asha's talked about the insects, so what my role, I guess, in the project is actually trying to pull together some of this information and put it into a toolkit for you guys to use. So what we've got is just calling it a toolkit project. It's covering off several aspects of the program. It's looking at establishment. So what are the learnings that we can pull from what we've done on the orchard and put it into an establishment toolkit? We're looking at monitoring. Asha's just talked about some of the monitoring approaches that have been implemented in the orchard. We're going to be looking at collating a lot more of these management learnings. So once we've actually got the cover vegetation established in the orchard, what sort of management are we putting in place? So are we mowing? Are we crimping? What are we doing to manage that grassy vegetative cover? There's also the data that Asha is collecting through her monitoring, and what other observational learnings can we pull from the project. And then we'll plan to have a final sort of toolkit wrap up and a workshop just to sort of share all of that information, and that will happen next year. So the establishment toolkit, it's available to download on the Light-a-Touch website. I've just put the web link up there. It's under the Program News tab at the moment until that changes. The website, I think, is going to undergo a little bit of a refresh and a redevelopment. I've got some hard copies here today. I haven't got very many, but certainly I'll leave some on the table and you can come and, first in, first served at the moment to grab that. But I encourage you to also have a look on the ALT website and go and look for those resources as well. Obviously, we've got a lot of video footage that we've been capturing and photography and things, and there is actually quite a lot of resource on the ALT website. So just in terms of the establishment toolkit, it's fairly easily laid out. It's fairly high level. As Murph said, it's a matter of going in and giving things a try. And this is really what this toolkit is designed. It's to give you a little bit more background resource in terms of what sort of plant species you might consider putting in your orchard. So we've given you a list of different seed species you might consider asking your seed supplier for, and basically sort of how to go about it. At the end of the establishment toolkit, there's a bit of a graphic there that takes you through some key steps in terms of how to establish or sow seed in those inter-row areas of your orchard. And you'll see that we used, in this example, we used a vineyard seeder to actually put that seed in. There are different ways of putting seed in. It really depends on your situation and what equipment is in the region, what's available, and what contractors are available to do things. So, for instance, with the Central Otago project that's getting underway with Summerfruit New Zealand, that will be, we likely won't be using a vineyard seeder, we'll be using something else to get that seed in. So I guess that's the pretty picture of where we want to get to. You'll be walking out on Tam's orchard today. Matt will probably be just giving you a little bit of an advanced explanation of what you might see there. This was from last year. This year it looks a little bit different, so just keep that in mind. The second toolkit that's been released is monitoring, and Asha's just touched on some of the principles of monitoring, and you can see some different patterns in there that we sort of recommend. So if you're looking at your bullock, you know, it's quite a, I guess it's for you to sort out what works for you in terms of your monitoring approach. But I encourage you to obviously sort of have a read of these toolkits. It gives you some good ideas, some good background. We also have a field scouting sheet in there that you can use, and that will just help you record what you see as well. We've got part of that monitoring toolkit is a guide on what are the beneficial insects that you might be looking for. So the pictures that Asha put up on the screen before, we've also got those pictures in this monitoring toolkit. So you can see the steely blue ladybird, you know, the lacewing and the hoverfly there. There's some key insects that you would be looking for. And I just want to quickly touch on, Matt and I were very lucky to have the opportunity to attend the International Citrus Congress 2 weeks ago. Actually, it was in Turkey. And we were very interested to see what they were doing in Europe, particularly with the European Green Deal, what sort of research and R&D was coming out around the sort of agroecological space. They had one session in the week-long conference on agroecology, so there's not a lot happening through citrus, I guess, at the moment, but it was interesting to see that they're actually trying things out. So they're really focusing on enhancing biodiversity by encouraging natural enemies into orchards. They were using vetch, which is kind of interesting. That was, for some reason, that they're focusing on that plant species, and they were monitoring pests and parasitoid populations. So again, that was looking at cover plants, mulching, comparing mulching, mowing and spraying for biodiversity, and they're also quite focused on approaching agroecological approaches for weed management. So looking at cover crops, you can see in that slide on the right-hand side, they're doing mulch trials, so looking at comparing mowing versus artificial mulches and things. So yeah, there is a little bit happening in the citrus world in agroecology. I expect that there will be a lot more happening in that space, and through Citrus New Zealand we'll be keeping an eye on the research that comes particularly from the Europeans and through America as well. So that's me. I guess I can invite Matt up to the lectern to give you a little bit of an overview of what's actually happening in the orchard.